Greetings! I present the Rekin system. 3D editor, Scene. In this episode, I will show you 3D production application with its built-in Studio 3D editor module. Previously, we have discussed coordinates and usage of a mouse in the editor. I will now describe the first tab, Scene, where we build set structure modifying its parameters. As an example, we will now load another ready-made set design created by a graphic designer. We will do it using Menu File and Load Studio, selecting a new file on the disk. After a moment, we will be able to fully modify the set design according to our own needs. Let's first select the main branch of the tree, Scene. The main options of the scene appear below. The first one is a function displaying on auxiliary plane. Below, we can see pivots coordinates for the virtual set design. Further down, we can find a button that activates a global shadows function. But first, we have to turn the shadows on in our studio. And only later we can specify in the tree which elements are to cast a shadow. In this set design, it is a desk that casts a shadow. When we disable Global Shadows option, all shadows for the selected objects will be turned off. A slider with which we can adjust intensity of the falling shadow is located below. We can set no shadow or its strong intensity. This value is stored within the set designs file. Sky map options are located below. The first type is cube, that is a cube enclosing the set design with DDS files support. As a parameter, we can rotate the cube around its Y coordinate axis. The second type is cylinder. It is a form of a wrapped rectangle on which we can apply an image, example a panorama file with a JPEG extension. Sample files can be found on the Rekin system's hard drive. We can change the following parameters for this type of sky map. The first one, offset, that is a cylinder's upward-downward displacement in the range of -100 to +100. The second one, scale, specifies an area of the cylinder that is being wrapped. A value of 50% means half the cylinder. The third parameter is rotation around Y coordinate axis, moving an image to the right or to the left. For each sky map type, we change movement value with a slider. It sets a sky map's distance from the studio's space. As the camera moves in the studio, the image follows it, creating a virtual perspective of a view. We have discussed the scene's main options, so let's now look at the tree structure. Each of the objects, example a desk, is represented by a single node. Let's select a desk on the preview. A corresponding position will be selected on the tree then. However, the desk is made of several parts, such as legs or a tabletop. Below the tree, we will enable Advanced View mode and the tree will expand to show sub-elements. This way, we can select any part of a given object. If we select a main node, example a desk, we will see its basic property below. The object's position in the studio, its rotation and scale parameters. Using the controls, we can accurately set our desk's position or change its size. Below, we can enable a shadow for a given object. Since we have enabled a global shadows function in the main branch of Scene tree, for a given object, we can specify that a particular solid casts a shadow. We can add new elements in the chosen scene. Again, we select the main scene node. Above, an ADD button appears. When we press it, a window with object database appears. we can use the browser. We also select Objects category and subcategory suggestions. On the left, we select an object with a double click. By default, it will be added in the center of the studio. With available arrows, we can move the new object to a desired position in the studio. Depending on the selected mode, we can choose moving the object, rotating the object around its axis in the direction selected on a circle, or changing its size choosing one of the available coordinates. Option of objects cloning is also available. In the Trees Advanced mode, we should pay attention which of the elements is currently selected. Above, a clone option appears. Then a new entry will be added to the tree, and a new element will be created in the same position. Objects can be replaced with others. Let's select it. Above the tree, we choose Replace option. We select an element in the new window that appears. No need to position the object. The new element will appear exactly in the same place. Let's not forget to enable Shadows option for the newly added objects. We select the object, and we enable the options. We should pay attention whether we have enabled a shadow for the entire object. Our set design is almost ready. We can also change object's material. For example, we select our floor in Advanced mode. On the right side, we will see a list of available materials for substitution. When we move the cursor over, a tooltip window appears. We choose a material by clicking on it. When the material is selected, we will be able to see new functions below. Texture color. By clicking in the window, we choose a new color for the material used in the entire studio. In case of mismatch, we can restore the original color with Reset button. Or restore the original material which is stored in the studio file. We can add logo elements to the scene. We choose Scene, then Add button, and we type in logo in the search engine. We add an element to the studio with a double click. After selecting such an element, a previously invisible function appears. This is a texture file's path. We click on the three dots and select a new graphic file from the disk. In the case of ready-made studios, such elements are already embedded, usually under a name of logo. Let's load a new file with transparency onto a logo object. We can modify the studio further by setting the sources. Let's select one of them, for example, a talent. On the right side, on the ABCD mixer, we change its source index or its source type. Below, we can see a billboard option. When it is enabled, a plane rotates with a talent and follows the camera's movement. Such settings result from a type of a studio used. If a talent is behind a desk with billboard option enabled, a plane can cut through the object. In such situation, it is suggested to disable this option. We should then be careful with moving the camera not to create an effect of a flat talent. In case of having a standing form of a talent, we can enable the billboard option. We won't encounter any difficulties in this situation. Finally, such modified studio with elements added, shadows enabled, sources set up, a logo added, and with a material and a color changed, can be freely saved as a new studio file. We choose File, Save Studio As. We enter a file name. We save it. Such project can be loaded into 3D production module. Thank you.
Wrecking. Keen on record.